for question 6, it says a mobile phone has a touch screen. The screen is represented by a grid divided into 800 rows and 1280 columns. The grid is represented by a 2D array screen of type integer. An array element will be set to 0 unless the user touches that part of the screen. Many array elements are set to 1 by a single touch of a finger or stylus. The following diagram shows a simplified touchscreen. The dark line represents a touch to the screen. All grid elements that are wholly or partly inside the outline will be set to 1, and these elements are shaded. Right, the element shaded in black represents the center point. Okay, so a program is needed to find the coordinates, so row and column of the center point. The center point in the on the diagram above is row 6, column 11. Okay, as we can see there. Right, so assume the user may only touch one area of a screen at a time, and screen rotation does not affect the touchscreen. Right, then we have these modules. So we have SetRow, which is used to generate test data. This is called with 3 parameters of type integer, a row number, the number of pixels to be skipped starting from column 1, and the number of pixels that should be set to 1. Then it will just set the required number of pixels to 1. So for example, if we have here set row 3, well, this means use row 3. This means skip the first 8 columns, and then this means set the next 5 to 1. And then if we see here where it says like row 3 in the diagram, so we see if we look at row 3, well, we skip 8, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So we skip 8, and then here we have 5. So 5 that we set to 1. Okay, which that's what you can see here, right? So skip 8 and then set 5 to 1. Right, then we have this SearchInRow and SearchInColumn. I mean, these are actually not used for the first question, but I mean, just to look at them anyway. Right, it says takes 2 parameters of type integer. This will be a row number and a start column, either 1 or 1280. Then it will search for the given row from the start column, either left to right or right to left, for the first column that contains an element set to 1, and it returns the column number of the first element in the given row that is set to 1, and returns -1 if no element is set to 1. So what this is kind of saying is, like, let's say for example we choose here, so we choose to start from the right, then that's just going to keep going left until it finds this position here. And I guess in this case, well, if this is column 11, right, this is 12, then this will just return 13. Likewise, if we choose to start from column 1, well, then it's just going to go this way, and this one here will just be column 9, right? So that's what this is going to do. And then likewise, I mean the search in column, right, that's basically going to be the same. But for example here, this is column 7, I think. So here if we go column 7, well, then it will return 5, and then if the parameter is 800 or the end, right, then it's just going to return 7, which is I guess this one. Right, but for the first question anyway, we just need to implement SetRow. So again, just to recap, that's going to be the one where we're going to skip, well, here it's going to be 8 positions, right? Then we just set 5 like this. So if we just go here, and again, well, obviously as always, we've just got the starter code, and if I just move this across, basically you can see I've just created this grid, and that's called using this draw screen. Now, draw screen is not actually a module that they kind of tell us in the paper, but I mean, just so it makes it easy for us to visualize and test it, right? I mean that's why I've created this. And I have also given an output saying that, well, for this question I've actually reduced it to 20 by 15, rather than 12,800 by 800, because, well, otherwise that gives us a huge number of pixels. Obviously it's not going to fit on the screen, it's going to be extremely slow. So just for this simple purpose, I've actually reduced it, and I think I've also stored them in these constants here. Alright, so let's just go ahead then and try and do this. And in fact, I'll probably just copy, let me just copy this. Right, then let's just comment. So, okay, I guess this is a procedure. Okay, because it says we don't need to return. Right, so let's go procedure. This is SetRow. and right, the first one is the number to skip. So let's just call that skip. Okay, actually no, sorry, the first one here is this row number. So yeah, let's just call that row, I guess. Right, then let's call it skip. And I'd maybe like num to set. Okay, and yeah, they're all going to be integers. Now, if we think about this, let's just go back to the example. Right, here they're saying we want to set this 8, or, well, we want to skip 8. So that means that the first position is going to be 9. Alright, so basically we can just have a for loop here. So we're going to start from, well, basically it's going to be what, this one plus 1. And then, well, then we're just going to go, I guess then it'll be sort of, well, this one plus 1 and then plus this. Right, that will be the ending position. So yeah, let's just go back here. Okay, so I think we can just go for, let's say maybe like column, and the column, this will start, well, like I said, skip plus 1. Then we'll just go, and this will be, well, skip plus 1 and then plus the num to set. And you know, if you want, I mean, you could declare variables, you know, to store these, but yeah, I think here it's fine just to have them all in one go, right, all just in the for loop. Right, and then what do we want to do? We just want to get the, I guess, screen, right, and then just set that to 1. So if we just go screen, right, the row, well, the row is just going to be, yeah, this row parameter. Then the column, well, that's just, you know, this one in the for loop, right, and well, then here we just assign this to 1. And yeah, I think that's all we need to do. Alright, so let's just try and call this. Yeah, I'm just going to sort of delete this, to be honest. And then I'm just going to call this draw screen after we've done this SetRow. So yeah, maybe let's put that here or something. Right, so first then we want to call SetRow, and let's just use the same arguments as they did. So I think that was what, 3, 8 and 5. And yeah, let's try and run this. Okay, so something has happened. And yeah, okay, I mean, does this work? Like here, okay, we've skipped, yeah, so we've skipped 8. And then, right, so here we've not set 5. So I guess then, yeah, we can just get rid of this plus 1. Alright, and yeah, guys, so I think now it seems to be working. Okay, so, well, we'll just move on to the next part of the video. For part B, they've given us the description of SearchInRow again. So just to recap, this takes 2 parameters of type integer, a row number and a start column, right, so 1 or 1280. Now, I think in our case, this is just 15 or 20. Yeah, I mean, I'll recap in a minute. Right, then it will search the given row from the start column, either left to right or right to left, for the first column that contains an element set to 1, returns the column number of the first element that is set to 1, or returns -1 if no element is set to 1. So yeah, just to look at the example again, well, if we search in row and then row 3, if the parameter is 1, that means start from the left, and then here again that means, you know, return 9. Right, if the column is, you know, 1280, well, that means start from the right, and then here what is going to be 13. Okay, so yeah, let's just try and do that. And right, so here we're just going to use this screen width, so rather than 1280, okay, we can just use 20. Yeah, or we'll just use this variable, sorry, yeah, this constant. Okay, so let's go procedure. Then this will be, as it search, yeah, I think search in row. Right, then this takes the column. Yeah, let's just check again. Okay, alright, so it takes a row number and a column. Right, so let's go row and column. Right, then what we can do, I mean, because well, obviously we've got 2 situations. One is where we're searching left to right, one is where we're searching right to left. Now, we could just have 2 if statements. So the first one can be, you know, if column equals 1, right, and then, for example, you know, we have the code of searching, yeah, searching left to right. And yeah, I have realized, okay, this should actually be a function. Right, but then if the column is, well, in our case 20, or, you know, in the real exam, what, 1280, yeah, then you'd want the code, you know, to go right to left. So you could just have 2 separate if statements like that, or we could actually be a little bit clever, and basically we'll just give, you know, different start and end indexes, and also different steps, right? So just for the for loop. And yeah, then we actually only need one for loop which can do both of them. So if we think here, right, this is, well, we say returns, and this will return, I guess, well, just an integer. So let's say then we'll just declare, maybe let's declare an end index, right, so in a for loop. And if we think a for loop, we also need a step. Now by default, you know, the step value is just 1, but we can actually make this -1 and then it will go from right to left. So let's think, right, if the column equals 1, well then what we want, the end in that case should just be the, is it screen width? And again, you know, in the exam, right, this should be 1280, but yeah, for us this is just 20. Right, and then we say the step, well here this can just be 1. Alright, then we can just have an else, and I mean, yeah, I think here we don't need to validate, because it tells us it will be either 1 or 1280. And yeah, they don't say we need to validate, so I think it should be okay. Alright, so, well, else, I mean, this means it's 1280, so going right to left. So in our case, well, the end here will just be 1, because, you know, we want to go, well, from 20, you know, back to column 1, effectively. And then, well, in this case, the step will just be -1. So what we can do, we can just have a for loop. Let's say n. Again, you know, this is just the column, right? But so here then, this will start at the column, because I mean, yeah, this here is like the start column basically. And then what we'll do, well, we'll go to the end position, and we'll just have a step, well, of this step variable that we've created. Alright, so again, if we've chosen this, it will go from left to right. Whereas, yeah, if the column value is not equal to 1, then it's going to go right to left. And then I think what we can do, I mean, we can just have an if statement. So let's just go if screen, and we want to check that if, you know, this value is 1. So here this will be row, and right here this is just n, right, this for loop. Yeah, this is the column. So if this is equal to 1, right, then, well, then we just want to return n. Right, let's go end if. Yeah, let's go next. Okay, yeah, next n. And then, well, here, if we've looped through, you know, the entire row and we've not returned, well, that must mean, you know, obviously it doesn't exist in the row. So here we just return -1. Alright, and yeah, let's just test this then. So for example, if we go output, let's go SearchInRow, and, well, let's say we want row 3, and we want to start from column 1. Okay, so this should return 9. Now, if we just copy this, let's say here we just want to start, what is it, from 20, you know, or we could just say this screen width. I guess, yeah, this should return 13. And then if we just copy this again, I mean, let's try searching in column 2. So column 2, well, it should just be empty, so it should return -1, right? And yeah, let's run this, see if it works. Okay, yeah, so it seems this works. All right, so 9, 13, and then -1. Looking at the last question, it says the following new module is introduced called GetCentreCol. This is called with a row number as an integer. It then uses SearchInRow to find the first and last columns in the given row, which have an element set to 1. Then it will return the index of the column midway between the first and last columns, and it returns -1 if no element is set to 1. And if we just see here, all right, in the example, that's, for example, here, right, this 11, they're saying that, well, this 11 is, you know, in the middle between, I guess, is this maybe 7, and then this is like 15 or something. So yeah, just saying, you know, in the midpoint of those. Right, so I've actually gone ahead and just created this, just using, you know, these sort of multiple calls to SetRow. Yeah, just the same as what they've got. Right, so let's go and create this. So let's go function. This will be GetCentreCol. Right, this then takes a row, I guess, as an integer. And right, let's just go returns. Yeah, I'm just going to move this across a little bit. And then this will also return an integer. Now, what we need to think is that if we want to get the center position, basically we just need to do, well, the start position plus the end position and then divided by 2. So we're going to need 2 variables, right, to get the start and end position. So maybe let's say start column, yeah, let's say end column, right, they'll both be integers. And the way we can get that, well, that's using the SearchInRow that we've just created. Okay, and yeah, I mean, it does tell us here. So right, this takes two parameters. The first one is going to be the row, right? So that's just this row parameter from here, right? The second one is the column. So if you remember, if we set this to 1, well, this will just get the leftmost, okay, because it will start from left to right. And then if we want to get the end column, well, again, we're just going to use SearchInRow, right? We're going to use this row number. And then here, well, I mean, in the exam, it's going to be 1280, right? But in our case, it's going to be 20, yeah, or you can just use this screen width constant. Right, and then I think here we just want to check that, we want to check this first. Because, for example, if we have, you know, row 1, well, of course, like none of them are set, so it should return -1. And if we think, right, if this SearchInRow returns -1, then, you know, going from left to right, okay, so it's not going to see anything. Like, also going from right to left is also going to return -1. So effectively, you know, if start column is -1, then end column will also be -1. So, I mean, here we only really need to check one of them. Yeah, we can go if start column equals -1. Right, then we just want to go return, and I think, yeah, here we just return -1. Right, yeah, then we have the else, so this is where we want to return the actual midpoint, and here we just want to go the start column plus the end column. Yeah, then we just divide it by 2. Okay, then let's just go end function, and I think, yeah, I mean, hopefully this will work. So I'm just going to go and delete these. Then let's just go GetCentreCol, and let's go row 3. Or in fact, maybe here, let's go row 2, right, row 3. And the thing is, if you notice, well, row 3, row 4, row 5, you know, it's always going to be 11, right? This is always the center column. But yeah, let's try and run this. Yeah, okay, so we get -1 and then a couple of 11s. Now, let's say, for example, if we start here from row 1, now let's just run it again. Okay, hang on, wait. Sorry, not row 1. Right, okay, let's say here. Okay, so we're skipping only one column. Right, so yeah, now we see we get this, and let's actually make sure just to put this as 5, okay, because this is row number 5. And then here it's saying 6, which, yeah, maybe that's correct. I mean, so this is 2. This is going to be, right, so hang on, wait, 5. Right, this is going to be 10. So yeah, I'm going to think here, right, 2, and then, well, 6 will be in the middle, which will be this one. Yeah, okay. Alright guys, so again, I mean, this seems to work now. Hopefully this makes sense, right? If you have any questions, well, just ask in the comments, ask on Discord, and see you in the next video.